All right, in today's video, we're going to talk a little bit about how to get to a three high look in 4-3 personnel. I'm going to say some of the positives, some of the negatives about it, why you would want to do that. So let's get started. First, you see with a 3x1 set into the field, normal 4-3 structure. The issue that you're going to have, obviously, especially with 3x1 sets with the two high shell, is that what are you going to do to the back side of the single? How are you going to play the trip side? Somewhere you're going to be -1 or at least 1-to-1. 3-on-3, depending on how you want to roll your coverage. So one of the ways that you can get out of this, you may be getting paced, you may not be able to make some substitutions, but you want to go to a change up in third down. Maybe you want to go to the odd front, you want to go to a three high safety look, but you may not be able to make the subs in time. So what you can do, a quick, easy way to do that here in the 4-3 personnel is what we call mix. And so what a mix allows us to do now is we're going to move that will backer outside over number one receiver. And now that corner can essentially back up and play what would be the safety's position. And now you have the option to move your safety to the middle of the field. You bump your other safety over, and now you've got your three high look out of your still 4-3 personnel. Now, the one negative thing that I would say about it, obviously you have your will playing corner, but the positive to me is now you could still be 2-over-1 on this side. You could still be 4-over-3 to this side. You may be a little bit limited in coverage here. Obviously, you don't want to, play some type of, cover 3 roll where your will is trying to take number one vertical, because that's probably going to be a matchup issue. The reason why we would play this is primarily because of that matchup to the single receiver. So now we've given ourselves options to play, two-man to this side, or play a hard cover 2, jamming number one with the backer, and then taking corner over the top. We can do some different things in that nature, and that, to me, that's a big benefit of on the fly making that mixed call and moving that weak backer out to number one, and now bumping your safeties over. And now we've given the quarterback a three high look and able to then make some coverage adjustments based on that right there. The other thing that you could do too, if you wanted to add an additional change up, would be to go from a even to an odd set as well. And the way you can do that still in the same personnel is move your tackle back to a backer position. Now, obviously, you've got a much bigger guy playing 5 yards off the ball. The benefits, though, are, again, making a change without having to make a substitution. For us, you really don't need to change any of your calls. You could still fit him just like you would if he was a 3 technique. He's still going to fit opposite this end. So you still have all your stunts and calls and blitzes and things like that you can maintain without having to teach something different. The only thing now is teaching this guy how to read back flow, all those things, and how to fit off the guy in front of him. Just tell him you're still playing your shade, but just from some depth. All right, so that is the way that you could make a quick change up into a three high set, even go into an odd front out of the 4-3 personnel. All right, so here now we have a 2x2 set, essentially in the middle of the field. And you have a few options when you want to make that mix call, and how are you going to set it up so that you still feel confident with your leverage on the receivers in the middle of the field, with the spacing not being quite as easy as a 3x1 set. So the changes that you need to make are still the same thing. You're going to bump your will out to number one. Corner's going to back up and essentially play that safety again, allowing your safeties to bump over. He's going to play middle of the field. He's going to play inside there. Now you're going to have to bump your mic out too. This is going to give you that kind of odd stack dime kind of, Iowa State look. But you're going to want to back up your tackle now. Either the strong or the weak. It's really about who's the kid at either position that is able to make that. And then one other additional change I would make is obviously why Iowa State does this is I would go ahead and bump my ends in and play the tight front. And now my job now is to take up the B gaps with the ends. Going to fit off the, this tackle is essentially playing the new mic. It's going to fit off the tackle. We're going to gum up the both A's, both B's, push the ball out wide to where we have at least some apex players, to both of the twin sides. So now you can see there still is an adjustment to make. It's just a little bit more to really account for that light box, because that's where the issue I think is. And if you made that adjustment you know, uncovering two might be an issue. You know, if it was into the boundary, you could still play your you know, your 4-3 front, and the way you would do that is essentially putting the mic to that side and allowing him to hip up with that end. Just knowing that obviously your weak, you know, strong side A gap or to the back gap is going to be an issue right there. But now you're still able to be somewhat, you know, not full apex, not a full cover down, but you're still enough of spacing if it's into the boundary that you can still, you know, take away some stuff by slide alignment. You still may give up, you know, quick hit and hits. You're going to obviously, you know, may have issues with the bubble from two, but for the most part, you could still do that if it was on a hash. If not, got to make that odd front adjustment, go to some type of what Iowa State looks like, and still have the 3 high safeties. Now, obviously, in a perfect world, you would have time to sub. You'd get the right guys on the field, be able to do that. But again, if you're facing, let's say, a tempo team that's just running you to the ground, you're not able to make an adjustment. You don't want to sit in your base 4-3 for all, you know, 3 downs and give them the chance to just continue to find what they want out of the front, what they want out of the coverage. You want to be able to change it up just by a quick, simple call, move some guys around, try to keep it as simple as possible, not have to over teach it, especially if you're, you know, at the high school level. You may have guys playing both ways. You may not have time in practice to really go into detail about teaching this guy how to play safety. So your coverage may be a little bit, you know, simplistic in that means, but you would still have just that ability to give a different look. You know, there's always the idea of, you know, giving this look and going ahead and bringing that will as essentially the corner blitz and driving down on him, and you're going back to what your original set is, but you're giving it at least a little bit of a different look. So I hope that's something that you guys might be interested in. Again, call it whatever you want, but you can still get to a 3 high out of a 4-3 personnel.